Hey guys, Paul from Ashen Phoenix. New comic book day for the week of January 1st. Happy New Year! We're a little short staffed today because it's a new year, so obviously everybody's schedules are a little bit rough around the holidays, but we are going to get things going anyway. Make sure, again, to stay at the end of this video to figure out if you won a copy of Princess Leia's trade, and then find out what's going to be available this week. Alright guys, up first, Avengers issue number 3. Wow. That might have been the most confusing comic I think I've ever read. It's a time-traveling comic. I mean, we are still fighting with Kang, and we're just going through all the randomness that is this fight, where it's weird. I'm not really sure how to deal with it. We are dealing with Wasp, who is trying to basically set the timeline back to where it should be, and that she has a moral quandary, and that is going to set up the resolution of our story and what I'm assuming will be the arc. As those who have seen the comic before or seen our reviews, I'm not a huge fan of this as far as the art, because I'm not a big watercolor person. The writing, even though it is somewhat confusing, does work around it, at least for Spider-Man. Wasp's stuff is just really kind of hokey and cheesy, and her dialogue just doesn't really work. But if you remove Wasp from the rest of the book, it's okay. So if you're a fan, if you've been watching Avengers so far, you're going to figure out what's going to go on. So you're going to read the book. If not, you can pass on it because it's just confusing as hell. I don't really know another way to describe it.
Hey guys, it's Tim from Capes and Scowls, and I'm going to talk about books because you like books and I like books, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about Deadpool the Duck. I told myself I wasn't going to read this, but I was asked to read it, so here we go.
That's a lie.
It's not a lie.
It's a lie.
He begged me to read this.
I did not.
He said, please, for the love of God, read this because you'll hate it.
I said, I know you're going to hate it. You don't have to read it.
I kind of hear what I want anyway, so he could possibly be right. Anywho, Wolf Cup. Anyways, Deadpool's very hit or miss for me, but Howard the Duck, I am in, 100%. This is a story of Deadpool taking a mission for S.H.I.E.L.D., and because there's a weird extraterrestrial signal, and you find out that it's probably Howard the Duck related. He bumps into Howard, and a ship appears, crashes, and it's Rocket Raccoon. So now you have Rocket, you have Howard, you have Deadpool. Deadpool has this cool teleporter again. He is imagining Wolverine, old school Wolverine in his head. It's a spirit animal, which he has probably the best dialogue in the whole book, because he's helping him furniture shop. It's very strange. But basically, this issue is going to explain how you get Howard and Deadpool into Deadpool the Duck. It's a silly book. It wasn't super good, but the setup is actually pretty well done, so it's worth checking out issue 2. I don't care, but it was done well. So if you care, you'll like it.
Next up, Justice League issue number 3, or actually Justice League versus Suicide Squad issue number 3. The first 2 issues of this have been really jam-packed with a lot of action, so obviously you knew that was going to change at some point, because we need a story to kind of take hold and figure out what's going on with this and what the reasonings are for all the people. That is explained in here. We figure out why Amanda Waller just went balls out and tried to take out the Justice League. And then we figure out why all of these villains are now taking on the Suicide Squad and by default, the Justice League 2. It's been well written. It's, like I said, it's a setup story. It's setting up what should be going on, taking a little break from the action. Still is pretty good because there is a lot of information that is dumped in here. So definitely pick it up, especially if you've been a fan of the Justice League or the Suicide Squad for the Rebirth, because they've been pretty solid throughout this entire time. And I think that's what's kind of pushing this series through.
Alright, I'm going to talk about more books. Whoa, books! This book's called Marry Me, and it's by Keen Spot Comics. I've never heard of Keen Spot, but good on you, Keen Spot. This book was actually pretty good, but it is worth noting that the art is pretty bad. This is like you go to a con. Lou Ferrigno's not there. It's a low-level con. And there's a guy selling his own art. And this is the best of his own art that you're going to see. This is like if I tried really hard and I put all my money into a book, the art would look like this. Okay, the art is really not good. It's like top-level, low-tier art, if that makes any sense. But the story was fine. The basic plot is Stasia. She's a pop star. I think it's supposed to be Stasia. She's having some sort of crisis. She's just tired of it. She's tired of being this superstar. She's having a breakdown. She's at her last concert of the year, and she's forgetting words. She's getting yelled at by her sister, who helps manage her.
Sounds like Mariah Carey.
It does it's very topical. So she takes an intermission when she's like, "Get yourself together. Can't remember words. What are you doing? Don't do anything crazy." She's like, "You always do crazy things when this happens." There is a gentleman in the audience.
Does she have her feeling emotions?
Anyway, I can't condone this kind of behavior. I can't. That's why I only read Wolf Cop. I don't have these problems. Anyways,
You have your own stuff for Wolf Cop.
Anyways, basically, a gentleman in the audience, through a bunch of circumstances, ends up with a sign that says, "Marry me." He doesn't like her. He doesn't know her music. He doesn't know anything about her. Although she's like in Maxim's 100 Top Hot, whatever. That's like what he knows. He does not care about her at all. He went to the concert with a friend. He's holding up the sign. And she says, "Come on stage. I'll marry you. And is there anybody that can marry us in the crowd?" And there was somebody in the crowd. And she legally gets married by the end of the show. Very ridiculous plot, but it was written very well. So if you want something bizarre and different to read, here you go. But the art is atrocious. I'm sorry. Yeah, your name is atrocious. You know what? If you want something different, read this book.
And last up, Justice League issue number 12. This is a Suicide Squad Justice League tie-in because I wanted to read a little bit more and figure out what's going on. This is a Maxwell Lord issue. For those who haven't been catching up, Maxwell Lord is going to be the main antagonist in this story. This is basically all the backstory. It's figuring out why Max is doing what he's doing to the Suicide Squad and Amanda, and kind of sets up the real reasoning behind everything going on. If you're reading the stories, this is definitely a big one. If you are reading the regular Justice League issues, you can actually kind of skip this one because it really doesn't have a lot to do with the Justice League in continuity. This is strictly something that is going to be dealing with the Justice League Suicide Squad and doesn't have any real bearing on anything else. So if you are reading the series, definitely pick this up. If you're not, you can take a break for a month, and hopefully next month you'll get back to Justice League action.
Alright, my last book is another Marvel book, and it's U.S. Avengers! Because we need another Avengers book. Like, I need a hole in my head. Alright, and this one is about as good as the other ones. Meaning it's not good at all. Basically, it's a bunch of characters that have nothing in common thrown together to fight generic threats. The only redeeming qualities of this book is that AIM, Advanced Idea Mechanics, or whatever it is bought out by that dude, Citizen V, or whatever he's called now, and he gets rid of the bad guys, and he makes AIM kind of like creepy science for good. So nobody wants the U.S. Avengers to exist, basically, because they're like, hey, your AIM's creepy. S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't like AIM, the government doesn't like AIM, the FBI doesn't like AIM, the superheroes don't like AIM, but here they are as part of this Avenger team. You'll notice Squirrel Girl, Red Hulk. The only reason I read this is because Red Hulk has a sweet mustache on this cover. So sweet. Very Don Fry-like. Don Fry has a sweet mustache. You should look that up instead of reading this book. But if you do read this book, it's okay. It's just a collection of this weird fight. The best part of the fight, they're fighting, villain of the week kind of characters, but they have a floating fortress that has a giant volcano on it. That's pretty awesome, as far as classic 80s cartoon style villainy goes. So, this book is pretty abysmal. I don't think anyone should ever read it, ever. Ever.
Alright guys, and that's it. It is going to be a short week because, again, it's the holidays, everything's trying to get done. But we do have a winner. So, this week's issue of Princess Leia is going to be James Galt. James Galt, make sure you shoot us a message with your name, well, not your name, make sure you shoot us a message with your address and we will get you out a copy. This week's giveaway, we have a backlog of a lot of promotional posters that we have in the office, so we're going to have 2 winners. So the best way to do that, again, make sure you're subscribed to Team Ashen, make sure you're subscribed to Capes and Scowls, like this video, and then comment with a recommendation that you've seen, or just comment. And that is pretty much it. We will see you guys next week, and hopefully have everyone here involved too.